I didn't pay attention to some signs that were going on. I got really severe fatigue, and I thought it was because of depression, which I already struggle with it. I know my body, and I tend to be a person that sticks my head in the sand because I just don't have time for it. Well, now I have time. I have stage 4 endometrial cancer. It's metastatic. And I got a diagnosis at the beginning of last year, 2025. I didn't know what endometrial cancer was in the beginning. I worked a physical job, and so, I just thought that's what it was because the fatigue was so extreme, and I didn't think anything of it. And then the following year, I was sick at Christmas. And I love to eat, and I love Christmas, and I love family. And I remember that Christmas that I couldn't eat. And I thought, that is really weird. Like, I felt like I was full, and I kept telling my family, I eat just a little and I feel like I'm full. So that was one of those other signs that something was going on that I did not pay attention to. Like, I just thought, whatever. And then, fast forward a few months, and I had actually gone to the doctor back in the summer before that and had some bleeding issues and still with the fatigue, and nothing came of it. She didn't do any tests, and so I just was sent along my way. Didn't feel well, and then I got really ill, right about the end of December, and was in severe pain, like severe pelvic pain like I'd never felt in my life. I didn't know what endometrial cancer was in the beginning, but I eventually went to the doctor. I had no idea that I had all the symptoms, the dangers of it. I was obese. I'd never had children. I started my period young. I had not been through menopause yet. So it all added up to excess of estrogen in my system. This woman was doing transvaginal ultrasound, and I had no idea what that meant until I got into her office, and I think she saw something, but she couldn't tell me. And so that's when I just started to get that feeling that, something is not right. And they eventually did a biopsy, and I was actually told I had cancer before they even finished the biopsy, my PCP. And so I was left standing by myself, getting myself, cleaned up and dressed after having been told that. And it was very traumatic. It was very shocking. Like, I didn't know the questions I was supposed to ask. I didn't know what the treatment was going to be. And so they assume, I guess, that you know these things. And I think I'm fairly intelligent, but I had no idea. And so I wish I'd asked more questions. I wish that I'd spoken up for myself. That's one thing good thing that I've learned through this is being a better advocate for myself. Really disconcerting when it's like somebody pulled the rug out from under you. You've got no baseline, no anchor, and it's very difficult. And she called me over the phone and told me that officially I had cancer. And of course, then you get all the readouts from the exams they do and the blood tests they do. You get to see that on my chart, which I don't know if that's a good thing or not, because I'm a layperson. I did not really understand what any of it meant. I knew that it probably wasn't good. I got to that before anybody could explain it to me, so that was difficult. Because, here I am trying to Google all these words that I don't understand, and that was not helpful. I really don't remember much about the time from when I got diagnosed until I first saw an oncologist. And when I did start seeing oncologists, it was like a whirlwind. Even to think about it now, it was so shocking. Just, you're reeling because nothing like this has ever happened to me. There's no history of it in my family. I think in the very beginning I was surviving and I was trying not to take in too much information. I think just having, faith in yourself, and knowing that you can do this. If you have to say it out loud, which I probably did quite a few times. One blood test at a time, one surgery at a time, one chemo at a time. I had 4 chemos, and then which weren't that bad. And then I had my hysterectomy, and then they waited a little bit, and then I had, I believe, 2 more chemos. I had one allergic reaction that wasn't a big deal, but the very final one, I will say was difficult. I don't know whether it's a buildup of the chemo. I got really nauseous, and I had a bit of a panic attack that very final day. But then I rang the bell, and I didn't think I'd get to ring the bell. And so when they let me ring the bell, because I was done my chemo, I was very, very happy. And yeah, I think it's just been such a good lesson, and it's made me just slow my life down and enjoy it and just be happy right where I am, come what may. If it comes back, I'll deal with it then. But right now I'm trying to, enjoy every time my husband and I go out to eat and have fun and go antiquing, and every time my mom and I go on adventure, or anytime I, spend with my best friend drinking tea and looking out the window at the ocean with her. Like, I really try to be in those places, just, to be there. And I have a husband that's very supportive and has just told me, do whatever you want to do, whatever makes you happy. And so that's really what I've been trying to do. So it's just unfortunate it took this to make me feel that way, to give myself that love and attention. But I'm here now, so I'm trying to practice that every day, just being happy and mindful, and again, giving myself grace and not being so hard on myself. I can only do 1 or 2 things a day. I can do the laundry and I can do some dishes, but don't ask me to vacuum. Like, it's too much. And I've slowly had to realize that there are just limits for me now that there weren't before, and I have to accept that, and I have to be graceful with myself. It takes a lot of work. You never know how tough you are until something happens to you, and then you realize, I'm tougher than I thought I was. Because I think I've handled things well, and I'm here, and I've been through a lot, and I get up every day. And I think that's when you talk to people, they just want to hear that because I've had people say, oh, you look so good, you look so happy. I'm like, I pretty much am. I'm doing well. And they don't want to know about the stuff you deal with every day, or the, little mini bouts of depression, or, the you doubt yourself a lot and doubt your choices. And, there's a little bit of blame that you put on yourself sometimes. And I think I've worked through a lot of that. And I literally look for joy every day, like whether it's in a cup of coffee, or my husband and I rescue cats. And so we have a house full of cats, and we continue to rescue. And so those are things that bring me joy. I'll never be the same person. But in some ways it's been good for me. It's enabled me to find my voice. I'm much more joyful. I feel happy more, which sounds ironic, but I'm just grateful to get up every day. The last time I went to the doctor for my 3-month, I was told I was in remission, which threw me for a loop, because I was headed on the journey in this direction and then was told you completely turn around. And I was shocked. It was I'd been dealing with trying to get my affairs in order, and deal with the psychology of knowing you're going to die and you're going to need hospice, and all your people are having to go through that. And then to be told you're in remission is just, I'm still not, haven't wrapped my brain around it. And it's been 3 months. So I'm in that place where I know that I could get cancer again, and I probably have a better chance of it than most people. I'm less afraid now that I've got a year into it. I don't feel the fear and the panic that I felt then. The fear, I don't want to say it's gone away, but because I'm dealing with things one day at a time, that's helped immensely.
Thank you so much for watching. If you were inspired by this story, we've queued up another one for you here. And please make sure you subscribe to the Patient Story community, where we're humanizing cancer one story at a time and always reminding people you're never alone.